Hey Zips fans, and welcome back from spring break. On this edition of the ZTV Sports Report, we'll get you caught up on everything that you missed, including the men's basketball game from Kent, the Zips' surprising run in the MAC championship, and our first softball action of the season. All that and more coming up on the ZTV Sports Report, which starts right now.
Welcome to the ZTV Sports Report, your home for everything Akron Athletics. I'm John Alfieri.
And I'm Zach Fuller. Well, John, it's been a while since our last show. Hope all of you Zips fans had a great spring break. But we have a lot of catching up to do on the show dating back before the break.
That's right, and we also have some new content to the show. Let's get into it and check out the men's basketball highlights against Kent State. Here's Rob Ziginer with the highlights.
On Friday, March 2nd, the University of Akron men's basketball team hosted their rival Kent State Golden Flashes in the second of two meetings in the Crystal Clinic Wagon Wheel Challenge. It was senior night in the jar as Akron fans, players, and coaches celebrated the contributions of Lucas Smith and Malcolm Duvivier. Akron would like to send their seniors on their way with a win, splitting the series with Kent State after their loss at Kent earlier this season. The Zips would start the game off by distributing the ball. Eric Parrish would have scores early with an assist from Malcolm Duvivier and cleaning up Rashawn Cotton's three-point attempt. Interior passing was a staple for the Zips offense early, as Duvivier finds Mark Kostelak for an easy lay-in. Eric Parrish would join in on this, finding Lucas Smith wide open under the basket, scoring the lay-in and drawing an and one in the process. Kent State kept the game close, but strong defense kept the Zips ahead. Malcolm Duvivier kept Akron's momentum going with a strong drive through the Kent State defense, and Rashawn Cotton finds Daniel Utomi for a strong finish at the basket. Akron nails two clutch threes as Malcolm Duvivier loses his defender off a pick, and Eric Parrish finds Torrey Patton in the corner for the open shot. Daniel Utomi would take over the game, hitting a mid-range jumper over Kent State's Mitch Patterson, then backing down Kent State's Jalen Avery. He misses the layup but gets his own rebound and is able to draw a foul. Utomi would sink his first free throw, but would miss the second. However, Jamond Ivey is able to tip the ball out, giving Akron another possession. This would lead to Malcolm Duvivier finding Daniel Utomi open in the corner for a three of his own. Kent State would take the lead, but Akron would battle back with good defensive plays and clutch offense. This offense, including a quick lay-in by Eric Parrish and a three-pointer by Jamond Ivey, would allow the Zips to tie the game at 31 heading into halftime. The Zips would look to continue this high-energy play in the second half. Akron came out of the locker room continuing to use interior passing to find open Zips under the basket for easy lay-ins, such as Eric Parrish finding Lucas Smith on the backdoor cut. Daniel Utomi would once again draw a foul as he cuts through Kent State's defense, finishing the basket and then converting the and one attempt. This would be the second of many trips to the free throw line for Utomi during his game-high scoring night. Kent State would show that they aren't going anywhere, but they fall asleep on transition as Duvivier finds Jamond Ivey down court for the heavy slam. Lucas Smith would pull up for a three of his own, but would miss. Akron would come down with the rebound, and using quick passes, they eventually find Rashawn Cotton for his own three-pointer. As Daniel Utomi backs down Kent State's Kevin Szabo, Torrey Patton sneaks down the baseline for an easy lay-in under the basket. Ivey would then shake off his defender and pulls up for yet another Akron three-pointer, bringing momentum back into Akron's favor. Both sides would have a tough rest of the night on offense as there were no field goals made by either team for the remaining 6 minutes of the game. All scoring would be done at the free throw line. Akron would use those free throws to edge Kent State 67-65. Daniel Utomi had a game-high 20 points while pulling down 8 rebounds and marking down 1 assist in the hard-fought victory for the Zips. After the game, head coach John Gross had this to say.
Our practices and really every game that we've played well. In fact, I think it's 6 or 7 in a row now where we've led for the majority of all the games. So we've played some pretty good basketball, and at times we didn't close a couple of them out. And I thought the next step for our team was to learn how to be tough mentally and physically and grind it out. And you have to do that at times in this league or in college basketball, period. I mean, we went 6 minutes tonight without a point and found a way to win against a Kent team that had won 3 of the last 4 and obviously beaten us in game 1. So we've made a lot of progress, and we're getting better. We haven't arrived yet by any means. I think as long as we stay humble and hungry, we can continue to get better here over the weekend. And then obviously be prepared to play on Monday regardless of who our opponent is.
The Zips are back in action Monday as they travel to Kalamazoo to take on the Western Michigan Broncos.
Following the win against Kent, the Zips secured a play-in game as an 11 seed in the MAC tournament, where they would travel to play Western Michigan and win 79-78, advancing them into the tournament at Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland.
Daniel Utomi led the charge for the Zips with 26 points, and Vershawn Cotton also contributed with 21 points, helping the Zips to overcome a 23-point halftime deficit to win a game where no one expected them to come out on top.
The Zips' surprising run would continue on to Cleveland, where our own Allison Rhodes has the highlights of the game against Eastern Michigan.
On Thursday, March 8th, the Akron Zips men's basketball team traveled to Quicken Loans Arena in Cleveland to play Eastern Michigan in the Mid-American Conference quarterfinals tournament. The number 11 Akron Zips entered the match with a 14-17 record. The number 3 Eagles entered with a 20-11 record. The Zips got off to a strong start, putting up 10 unanswered points over the first 4 minutes, 54 seconds of the match. The Eagles returned with 3 straight baskets. With 13 minutes and 19 seconds left in the first half, Jamon Ivey extended Akron's lead by 6 with a 3-point field goal. Eastern Michigan would then come within 3 points. With 8 minutes and 16 seconds left in the first half, Eastern Michigan cut Akron's lead to just 15-12. Akron then returned with a jumper and a 3-point field goal to extend their lead over the Eagles once again. With 4 minutes and 49 seconds left, Akron extended their lead by 9 over the Eagles. The Eagles and the Zips would then both go to score 7 more points, allowing Akron to take a 9-point lead into halftime. They led the Eagles 31-22 at halftime. To start off the second half, the Zips extended their lead by 12 points. For almost 6 minutes, Akron's defense held Eastern Michigan to scoring no field goals. This allowed Akron to extend their lead to 47-28 with 12 minutes, 30 seconds remaining of the game. Over the next minute of the game, Eastern Michigan would score 7 points and hold Akron to no points. Eric Parrish would then score for the Zips to end this run for Michigan, putting Akron up 49-35. Eastern Michigan would then put up 11 unanswered points to tie the game at 57 with 3 minutes and 15 seconds of the game left. With 2 minutes 23 seconds of the game remaining, Eastern Michigan took their first lead of the game with a layup and a free throw. Malcolm Duvivier put the Zips back within 2 points with a free throw at the 1 minute 59 second mark. The Eagles finished the tournament outscoring the Zips 7-0. Eastern Michigan defeated Akron 67-58, ending Akron's season. Here is head coach John Gross with his thoughts on the Zips' performance.
Obviously, 2 odd games for us this week. One where you're down 23 and come back and win, and this one where we're up 19 and not quite able to finish them off. I know part of that is March, but it was two completely different games that swung one our way, one that didn't. Today, I thought our first half was terrific. I thought it maybe is about as good as we played all year. We get up 19 with 12 and change, and I just don't think we did the things that we needed to do to finish it. Obviously, we turned the ball over 9 times in the second half. I thought that came back to haunt us. I thought their press bothered us a little bit and it got us in situations where we weren't able to get into offense as quickly as we needed to, and that disrupted our rhythm a little bit. But with that said, on the offensive end, defensively is where they made their comeback and where where we lost the game. They shot 62% from the field in the second half. They were 13 for 21 from the field. We had problems guarding the bounce, and they got a ton of free throws. Ended up going 19 for 22 from the line. That differential, which they earned, I thought was a big determining factor as well. Proud of the guys the way they played the last month. I made the comment that, and I joke around with them, I didn't know how much I liked being around them on the court about 2 months ago. They came a long way over the course of the last month. We've played our best basketball. Obviously disappointed today that we weren't able to finish this one out after playing, really well there for about 30 minutes. But we're, obviously these 2 guys up here, one of the things I've preached to the team all year and been consistent with has been effort, attitude, coachability, and toughness. And over the last month, we've had that quite a bit. I think that's why we've played well. Today, we didn't have a couple of those things when we needed them, in particular the attitude piece, and that's unacceptable. These 2 guys up here embody in a lot of ways those 4 areas and did today again. Really proud of Malcolm and the way that he's grown from the time that he came to the University of Akron until now as a person, as a student, and as a player. and he can certainly elaborate on it, but I think he's transformed quite a bit and really become better in all three areas, and I'm really proud of him for that. He's had a heck of a college career. I wish we could have finished it off today for him and given him another day to play tomorrow. And then obviously Dan is, guy that's given us everything he's had all year, played out of position due to injuries and some different things that we've had to go through, and doesn't bat an eye. Coachable, effort, attitude, toughness, doing what we need him to do. I really appreciate, as I've said this week in the media, I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to coach him, and obviously he's a big part of our future.
The Akron Zips men's basketball team finished off its 2017-2018 season with a 14-18 overall record.
The Zips' surprising run would continue on to Cleveland, where they faced Eastern Michigan in the first round of the tournament, but would eventually lose 67-58 after blowing a 13-point lead with 4 minutes left.
The Zips failed to make it to the MAC tournament semifinals for the first time since 2006, but would finish the season 14-18 overall, 6-12 in the MAC, and it was the first campaign under new head coach John Gross. A surprising season to many fans in his first year, and the Zips have plenty to build on going into next year.
Coming up, we will dive into the first softball action of the season. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Tune in to Channel 45-1 for the latest news here at the University of Akron.
And be sure to follow us on social media at ZTV LCA. This is Lights, Camera, Action.
Welcome back to the ZTV Sports Report, your home for everything Akron Zips athletics.
The Zips had their first softball action of the season this weekend with their first game against Toledo, followed by a doubleheader against Ball State. Here with the highlights are Allison Rhodes, followed by Rob Giginer.
On Friday, March 30th, the Akron Zips began their 3-game homestand against Ball State University. Ball State enters the homestand with a 20-10 record, and Akron enters with a 123 record on the season. In the top of the first, the Akron Zips starting pitcher, Cooper Verts, struck out the side to get out of a jam with 2 runners on base. In the bottom of the first, Akron began the inning with a single to left. Kimberly Rodriguez singled to center to score the runner, giving the Zips an early 1-0 lead. In the bottom of the third, Akron added to their lead, scoring another run on a double steal of second and home plate. Ball State came back in the top of the fourth, ready to cut Akron's lead. The Cardinals added 2 runs on an RBI double to right center, tying the game at 2-2. Ball State then added 2 more runs in the fourth with a 2-run homer, giving them a 4-2 lead over the Zips. The game would remain at 4-2 until the top of the 7th inning, when Ball State added another run with a sacrifice fly to right field. Ball State would go on to defeat Akron 5-2. Ball State finished the game with 5 runs, 5 hits, and 0 errors, and Akron finished with 2 runs, 9 hits, and 0 errors, but left 6 runners on base. The Zips starting pitcher Cooper Verts struck out a career-high 6 batters. Verts received the loss for the game, and Ball State starting pitcher Aisha Miles gained the win for Ball State. Akron would then face Ball State in a doubleheader on Saturday, March 31st.
On Saturday, March 31st, the University of Akron softball team faced off against the Ball State Cardinals in games 2 and 3 of a 3-game weekend series. The Zips would be looking to bounce back after a tough 5-2 loss the day before. Starting on the mound for the Zips was senior Cooper Verts. In the first inning, Verts allowed a leadoff double, but quickly bounced back with a flyout to deep center and striking out the next batter on 4 pitches. Verts' strikeout count came with the first pitch being a ball, then following with 3 straight swinging strikes, recording her first strikeout of the game and the second out of the inning. Verts would allow 1 run in the first inning, but got out of the top half with a ground ball to shortstop Sydney Jasko, who was able to throw out the runner at first base. Akron's Sydney Jasko led off the bottom of the first inning with a hard-hit line drive to deep left center, allowing her to reach second standing and putting herself into scoring position early for the Zips. Jasko would then steal third on a mishandled pitch by Ball State catcher Olivia Huffman, leaving Akron's first run only 60 feet away. However, despite Jasko's hit and base running, the Zips would not be able to get her across home plate. Cooper Verts recorded her second strikeout in the top of the second inning. Her pitch count would start off with 1 ball, then following up with 2 strikes. Verts would then throw another ball before striking out the batter looking, starting the inning strong by recording the first out on the leadoff batter. Unfortunately for Verts, Ball State would draw a walk and a base hit to right center field, both of which leading up to a 3-run home run by Ball State's Kennedy Wynn, giving the Cardinals a 4-0 lead and ending Cooper Verts' day after pitching for 2 1/3 innings, and bringing in Shea DeLeonardis for relief. Shea De Leonardis would be able to get the Zips out of the inning by forcing a line drive to Sydney Jasko and a ground ball to Jasko, who makes both plays to get the Zips off the field. Getting back on offense, Akron's Cassie Gillespie draws a leadoff walk, and Laura Lankins is able to advance Gillespie to second with a sacrifice bunt. Gillespie would then advance herself by quickly stealing third, but once again, the Zips would not be able to put any runs on the board. Back on the field, Shea De Leonardis is able to pitch for her defense, forcing Ball State into a flyout to deep left field, a ground out to the shortstop, and another flyout to deep center field, retiring the sides and getting the Zips back on offense, as well as stopping the Cardinals from scoring for the first time in the game. Akron was unable to score in the third, and the Cardinals were able to add 2 more runs to their lead in the fourth. However, in the bottom of the fourth, Akron gets on the board as Maddie Cloudis crushes a deep shot to left field. This home run sparked a rally with the Zips, who loaded the bases with the next 3 batters. Kimberly Rodriguez would record a base hit single between the shortstop and the third baseman. Then she would steal second to put herself into scoring position, and recording one of the 4 Akron steals in the game. Next, Cassie Gillespie would reach on an infield error to the second baseman, advancing Rodriguez to third. Gillespie would then steal second, trying to bait the catcher, but the catcher wouldn't bite on the trick. Laura Lankins would then reach base after being hit by a pitch, loading the bases and setting Akron up for a comeback rally. Unfortunately, the Zips wouldn't be able to get any of the runners to cross the plate, as Ball State puts the next 3 batters away, getting out of the jam. The Zips would go on to lose the first game 9-1 in 5 innings. The second game would start hot for the Zips, taking a 5-1 lead after 2 innings. But the Zips couldn't hold the Cardinals down for long, as they scored 15 unanswered points, going on to win the game 16-5 in 5 innings. Cooper Verts and Kayla Komet were the losing pitchers in the first and second games, and Maddie Cloudis had the only home run of the day for the Zips. Cassie Gillespie went 1 for 2 in the first game and 1 for 2 in the second game, and also recorded 2 steals for the day. After the game, head coach Julie Jones had this to say.
Really felt like we had an opportunity to win, and then the wheels just fell off the cart. We're at the point now where I think we're so into our downward spiral that one mistake happens and then the wheels fall off. And and that's an attitude thing. We've got to go that extra step. We've got to go that extra, whatever it is, to make a play. We've got to find something, and it's got to come from deep down in.
The Zips are back in action Tuesday, April 3rd, as they travel to Buffalo, New York to take on the Buffalo Bulls in a 2-game series.
Well, Zach, it's time for your favorite sports team that we cover here on the show.
The golf team?
No, the track team.
Oh, I hear they've been doing pretty well.
That's right, they have been. And there are a plethora of athletes ranked in the top 15 nationally between the men and women, the highest being Matt Ludwig, being ranked number 4 in the pole vaulting.
The Zips would travel down to Texas and compete in the Texas Relays, where Dara Perry broke her own school record in the 100-meter hurdle with a time of 13.11 seconds, which is the fastest time in the nation this season.
Matt Ludwig placed 6th in the pole vault, clearing 18 feet 6 inches or 5.5 meters. Lucy Bryan posted the second best jump in the outdoor program's history with a clearance of 14 feet 3.25 inches or 4.35 meters.
The Zips returned April 6th and 7th for the Northeast Ohio Quad Meet held at Akron, with multiple Zips continuing to beat their own personal bests and school records. Jenna France, Jordan Latimer, and Dara Perry were also named MAC Track and Field Athletes of the Week for the week of April 3rd.
Keep it locked here. We'll be right back. Well, now you should be all caught up from before spring break, and we'll be able to look forward to the rest of the spring sports action.
That's right. Don't forget to check out the Zips football spring game on April 21st at the stadium to see the defending MAC East champions in action as a preview for next year, which we will have on the next show, as well as more softball, lacrosse, and track.
That's all the time we have. Subscribe to our YouTube page and follow us on Twitter at ZTV Sports as well, and like us on Facebook to keep up to date on everything Akron Athletics.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm Zach Fuller.
And I'm John Alfieri. Go Zips.
Following the win against Kent, the Zips secured a
When they give us an opportunity, when the ball goes in the dirt, we got to run. That's what we do. We missed a couple of.
And we also have some new content to the show. Let's get into.
Jenna France, Jordan Latimer, and Dara Perry were also named Mac Fackenfield. Ugh.
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. To find out how you can make Emmy-winning media, visit the UA School of Communication online. ZTV. Make media. Make a difference.